publisher of the San Antonio Report, and we're delighted you're here with us tonight for our Council District 6 debate. First, we really want to thank Port SA for providing us with this amazing venue for this community to gather together and have this thoughtful debate and discourse about the important things for your council district. The San Antonio Report is a nonprofit, independent, local news source. We publish daily, we're all digital, and government and politics is at the core of what we do and civic engagement. And obviously, you're here because you care about democracy. So thank you again so much for being a part of this. I want to invite you, being obviously someone here who cares about democracy, to go on to the sanantonioreport.org website and sign up for the Bexar County Ballot weekly newsletter. It's authored by our government and politics reporter, Andrea Drusch, who will be the moderator for this debate. And it's your go-to place every week for all things that are happening in our community related to government. And without further ado, let's get this debate started. And I welcome to the stage Andrea Drusch and the candidates. Please welcome them to the stage.
Okay, everybody comfy up here? Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. City Council District 6 encompasses the city's inner to far west side, some of the fastest growing territory in this city. This is also becoming one of the most civically engaged council districts, with the turnout at the Northwest Vista College Polling Center at times even overtaking the long-running high turnout leader, Brook Hollow Library in District 10 in the last election. Go District 6. With Councilwoman Melissa Cabello Havrda leaving the seat to run for mayor this year, it's no surprise that a wealth of candidates, including many with lengthy political and public service experience, are running to fill this seat. We have 8 candidates here with us tonight, and remember, if no candidate takes 50% in the May 3rd election, this will go on to a June 7th runoff between the top 2 vote takers. Without further ado, this is how it'll go. When I ask you a question, you'll have 1 minute to respond. If I ask a follow-up, you'll get 1 minute to respond, and if a rebuttal is needed, you'll get 30 seconds awarded at my discretion. One quick note for the crowd, this debate is exactly 1 hour, and disruptions will take away from the candidates' time to make their case to voters, so please keep your applause short and polite. Since we have twice as many candidates on the stage now as in District 4, we're going to do things a little differently. I'm going to quickly introduce the candidate, and immediately after you're introduced, you'll have 60 seconds to talk about your background and experience and why you think that you are qualified for this important job. And we're going to go in ballot order, so starting with Vanessa Chavez, who is a former regional enrollment manager for IDEA Public Schools. She previously worked as a district director in District 7 and worked for the city's Neighborhood and Housing Services Department.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here this nice evening. My name is Vanessa Chavez, and I am a daughter of District 6. I was born into District 6 in 1971. My parents owned a home over near Lackland Air Force Base in Westwood Village. My first job was at the McDonald's on Military Drive. I attended Henry Dioso Catholic School in District 6, and I graduated from Providence High School and then went on to get a bachelor's degree from St. Edward's University in criminal justice. I raised 2 amazing sons. One's a Longhorn and one's a Roadrunner. I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I have 30 years of public service experience serving the people of San Antonio in various capacities. I've worked for 6 council members, 2 congressmen, a state senator, and I was the ombudsman at the San Antonio Housing Authority. So I come with a wealth of knowledge, and I would be ready to come into District 6 working hard for you on day one.
Thank you. Ann Gonzalez is a labor organizer and progressive activist who most recently worked for the union representing the City of San Antonio employees, and she also owns a screen printing business.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ann Gonzalez, and I am also a proud daughter of District 6. I am very happy to share my community-based vision for the future of our district tonight. But first, I would like to share my story. In 2018, I lost my older brother, Coco, to suicide. That moment transformed me, and it also opened my eyes to the inequities that our community face. I am running because it is important for us to think about our community and the future of our community. I have been in this race the least amount of time, but I have raised the most amount of money. That's not just about dollars. That's about trust and the belief that I am the best candidate to advocate for you and your communities. I'm not here to build a political career. I'm here to build safer, cleaner, well-connected communities. I can get it done. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Ric Galvan, is a projects manager in the District 5 office, as well as a progressive political organizer and a neighborhood association president in Pipers Meadow.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for having us here tonight. Thank you for SA Report for hosting this event tonight. My name is Ric Galvan. As you can tell, my voice is a little shot tonight, but that's what happens when you're knocking doors in the wind, the rain, the sleet, and the snow. I was born and raised here in District 6 in the Pipers Meadow neighborhood, where I currently serve as neighborhood association president for the area that I grew up in. I'm a proud product of our public schools in District 6, graduating from Holmes High School, and then going on to get my bachelor's degree at UT Austin. And I currently work at City Council as the Director of Special Projects, working to deliver policies that support working families here in our San Antonio, as well as working with residents one-on-one to deliver on issues that matter to them in their neighborhoods. I'm running for San Antonio City Council District 6 because it's my home. And we all deserve to ensure that our city is a safe, affordable, quality place to live in. I'm running because I believe it's important that our working families have a champion at City Hall. That is why I'm not taking a cent of corporate or real estate PAC dollars to my campaign, because I believe that the working families of District 6 deserve a council person that will always put them first when making decisions at City Hall. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Carlos Antonio Raymond, is a U.S. Army veteran and realtor who worked in the federal government in several capacities and has the unique distinction of having run for the Texas House as both a Democrat and a Republican.
Good evening, everybody. I have three first names, Carlos Antonio Raymond, like everybody loves Raymond, all right? I'm a first-generation immigrant, first from West Africa, then Jamaica, West Indies, and then the Panama Canal where I was born. I came from a very large family, and I wanted to keep in mind three words: poverty, hunger, and faith. That would give you an idea of who I am and why I'm running for City Council District number 6. I served in the United States Army during the most darkest hours of American history. Not only that, I brought 8 brothers and sisters, 10 brothers and sisters from the Panama Canal, and they've all served in the United States military. Poverty, there was 18 of us in our family, and I was born with bronchial asthma and lost a lot of time from high school. And I spent a great deal of my younger days pursuing education to rise above, because I didn't want to suffer. I came from a poor country, didn't
Mr.
want
Raymond,
to suffer
conclude
any
your
longer.
thought?
And thanks to the United States military
Mr.
to
Raymond?
give me that opportunity.
You're out of time. There's a clock down there. Our next candidate, Chris Baecker, had a corporate career in economics and accounting, and he currently teaches economics and algebra at Basis Middle School and economics at Northwest Vista College.
My name is Chris Baecker. I am a native of Victoria, Texas, a town small enough that we had our own TV stations, but big enough that I watched Dan Cook and Chris Maru deliver the news every night on KENS 5. My late great uncle was city clerk here back in the 70s, Jake Inselman. The field is named for him over near Gus Stadium. I moved here a quarter of a century ago this month. I have 4 beautifully distinguished daughters, the oldest of whom is about to graduate UT in May. The second one is a finance major on the Dean's List at Texas State. And we just recently learned that my third one is going to graduate number 3 out of 700 kids over at Earl Warren, and the youngest one sits at number 12. I earned my master's degree in economics at UTSA. I am the editor and policy director of a little outfit called Infuse SA. I currently teach varying levels of algebra to 7th and 8th graders and economics to 8th graders. After a few decades in the private sector, mostly in the oil and gas industry, for the last 11 years, I've taught economics part-time at Northwest Vista College, and now I want to go downtown and teach city council economics because I don't think they understand the subject. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Bobby Herrera, represented District 6 in the 1990s and ran again in 2019. He also had a lengthy career working for the federal government.
Hi, my name is Bobby Herrera. I was born and raised in this area. Went to Las Palmas Elementary, Edgewood Junior High, Kennedy High School. I worked here at Kelly, and thanks for bringing me back home. These buildings are something else. I worked here for nearly 22 years before they shut us down. After that, we moved on. I was in the U.S. Navy, Seabees, overseas. I served in Guam and the Philippines. I learned a lot there. I came back, I got married, we bought a house, more or less down towards Silver Creek, and had 2 sons. One of them died in a car accident. So my other son is moving forward. He lives in Van Alstyne, Texas. He's going for his PhD. I have 3 great grandsons, keep me busy. I didn't know they were so expensive, but still, they're my grandsons. I'm here to stay. I've served on city council prior. I know what it's like to sit on that hot seat. I know how to bring people together now. I just retired with the U.S. House of Representatives, Texas 15.
You're out of time. Our next candidate, Gerald Lopez, is a former Northside ISD board member who now serves on the Alamo College's Board of Trustees. He's a former chief of staff to the former District 6 Councilman Ray Lopez.
Good evening, and thank you for having us. I am Gerald Lopez. I am a proud father of 3 wonderful children. Have lived in the district for over 30 years, from the west side on Jasmine to Darwin Street off of Callahan Road, all the way now up to Petranco Road in Culebra. Having worked in the district for Ray Lopez as chief of staff, having worshiped and played in the district, it is important to me in the future of the future of District 6 when it comes to street sidewalks and bridges and things that are important to the district. I will say that having served and lived and worked, it is important to me that we continue to see our district grow. It is one of the fastest growing districts in the city, in the state of Texas, and in the nation, and it does require responsive leadership. Thank you very much.
Our next candidate, Lawson Alaniz Picasso, is a former District 1 staffer and marketing professional. She also ran in the Democratic primary for Bexar County Precinct 1 in 2024.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you so much to San Antonio Report for hosting this and for us being here in Port San Antonio, which is a product of what happens when we prioritize bringing opportunities into communities that need it most. I'm running for city council so we can have somebody that has a combination of lived experience with professional experience, who knows how to ensure that we are moving the needle forward for all people in San Antonio, but more specifically for those here in District 6. And I bring that type of experience. So I'm looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have here tonight, and then looking forward to the questions and so that you guys can understand who your candidates are for this city council race. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. All right, our first question of the night. Public polling indicates that public safety is a top concern for voters all across Bexar County, and right now District 6 is the rare council race where the Police Association didn't back a candidate. We know there are many different ways to address public safety, and some of the City Council's most heated arguments in recent years have been on that very subject. So I'd like to ask you each, given the chance to address public safety through the city budget, where would you start? And let's start at this end. Lawson?
I'm going to be very honest. I couldn't hear the first part of it with the echo.
Given the chance to address public safety through the city budget, where would you start?
Thank you. So public safety is something that I continuously hear while I'm walking this neighborhood. They want more lighting infrastructure. They want more pedestrian infrastructure to ensure that the kids that are within the 2-mile radius and cannot have access to a bus have access to safer streets for them to walk. Public safety is not just law enforcement and first responders, which I believe we need to ensure we're prioritizing and giving them the resources that they need in order to do their job. But it's also ensuring that we are looking at our communities in a more complex and more dynamic way, which is ensuring that we're allocating money to put in the infrastructure, like I mentioned, sidewalks and traffic calming solutions as well. We need to keep our neighborhoods safe, and we need to prioritize the next generation of homeowners and leaders in this community as well. So for me, it's making sure that we are looking at this budget pragmatically and strategically and ensuring that we're using our dollars to keep those at the front line safe.
Mr. Lopez?
So, for sure, public safety is a priority for me as well. And public safety can consist of a couple of things, right? We talk about public safety when it comes to our police officers, when we talk about neighborhoods, when we talk about vandalism. That is an issue that has been an issue for several years, not only in this upcoming administration, but in administrations in the past. And that has to do with budgeting. I will say that public safety also has to deal with animals, stray dogs, opportunities where dogs are running loose in different areas of the district, which particularly happens to be in most of the west side of San Antonio. So those are issues that are of concern to the residents as I block walked and heard from the residents. But we also need to prioritize our dollars. What is important to you as a district and resident in District 6? Because we've got different residents, different ideas on what's a priority to them on the west side than what's on the north side. So we've got to be pragmatic. We've also got to look at that in the diversity of issues.
Mr. Herrera, given the chance to address public safety through the city budget, where would you start?
Okay, on the city budget itself, right now we have a $4.4 billion budget. 62% of it to 64% of it goes to first responders. The rest of the monies that's allocated is divided among the 10 districts. I hate to say this, but all these candidates haven't sat there, but they're gonna have a heck of a time, whoever you elect, trying to bring monies into your own districts. We have to prioritize police officers on the streets. Right now, we have a graduating class that just graduated from SAPD Academy, 117. We have to cut down the time. Fire department, 3 months. SAPD, 1 year. They have to condense all that so we can put more police officers on the road. As far as safety is concerned, pets. We have a lot of pets on the street where we have a bunch of little kids running around with pit bulls. I think we'll have a city ordinance to do away with the pit bulls. I hate to say that, but it's true. Those are the dogs that turn against you no matter what. Look at the man last night that lost his 2 limbs. They gave the lady 6 years in prison for that.
Thank you. Mr. Baecker.
Public safety is one of the very top priorities in San Antonio, in any municipality. It should get almost a vast majority of the attention. A lady emailed me recently, I think she was over in Hidden Meadows, talking about gunshots and thefts and burglaries. So I would imagine that it'd be a good idea to have a patrol car or 2 in that neighborhood on a somewhat regular basis, just to provide peace of mind, and so the police officers can be there in case the worst does happen. The dog thing is a very important. You see stray dogs all over the place, and you protect yourself because you don't know what kind of. Well, if you get a good look at him, you might know what kind of dog you're dealing with. There's also public safety. I was walking down in Thunderbird Hills, and there was a sidewalk near a road that had no curb on it. And I was trying to imagine, in what world do we have sidewalks near a road, a fairly major road, with no curbs on it? That is a danger to any pedestrians. We don't have speed bumps where we should. I hear about that all the time. Thank you.
Given the chance to address public safety through the city budget, where would you start?
The city budget. I lived in District 6 for well over 30 years. And I mentioned earlier that I've lost a lot of time as a child growing up with bronchial asthma. and I was told that I had the IQ of a 4-year-old, and that scared me. And here we have in the District 6, when we have the 6th graders and 8th graders, math and reading score are way below average. Where can a child go further in life without a good education? And we can talk about infrastructure, we can talk about public safety, but we must address education and how we're going to lift those children up to have a better quality of life. When we talk about fastest growing city, fastest growing district in San Antonio, we talk about crime. I've seen crime risen over the years, and then it's scary along Culebra Road, the deadliest road in San Antonio, where accident is happening every day, deadly. That is scary. We have people moving.
You're out of time.
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. I'm really proud that since starting this campaign back in August, that we have committed, our team and I have committed to fighting for and investing in a holistic public safety system. And it's because of that commitment, I'm proud to be endorsed by the Bexar County Constable Leticia Vasquez for Precinct 2, which covers a vast part of District 6. And so working together, it means making sure that, of course, we're supporting our first responders, making sure they have the tools and the resources they need to address public safety here in our district and in San Antonio, especially as we continue to grow. But that also means that we're looking at these other pieces as well, right? Whether it's street lighting, whether it's street safety, whether it's making sure that our animal care services are scaled up to actually address the needs of animal care issues throughout our city. It also means investing in our mental health resources and our violence interrupter teams so we can break the cycles of crime and violence at their roots and really get these things done and make our communities safer by also investing in our education and our workforce development and addressing the homeless issue too, right? All these pieces connect to public safety, and it is critical that our city is investing rightly in these long-term solutions while also stopping the bleeding at the forefront. Thank you.
Thank you for this question. We have to look at the numbers, and the reality is that crime is down in San Antonio. However, the public's perception of what public safety really looks like right now, I think, is what we really need to be focusing on, and that's what needs to be addressed. We already spent about 63% of our $4.4 billion budget on public safety, and yet people still do not feel safer. I think that we need to be investing, as other people on the stage have said, in the deterrence of crime. We need to be investing in education. We need to be investing in our violence interrupter programs. And I think also we need to repair that relationship between our police officers and our community. We need to bring back the neighborhood watch programs. We need to bring back the citizens on patrol programs, because the reality is we cannot have a police officer on every corner, and yet everybody deserves to feel safe in their homes at night. Thank you.
Thank you. So I would advocate for increased police patrol. I've heard that at the door since I started block walking in October of 2024. And that's what I've heard, that we need more police patrol to patrol our neighborhoods and make sure that crime is down. I would also advocate for more safe officers. They're the officers that I've been working alongside since 1994, who are intimately involved. Like, they get to know the neighborhoods, they get to know the neighborhood presidents, and they get to know what's going on in the community so that they can stay in touch and reduce crime. I would also advocate for increase in mental health care services, the core unit, also the dangerous dogs. Like, you know, my opponents all said, it's a holistic view of public safety. One of the other things I would invest in and ensure that we have enough staff for is the DART team. I was actually a part of that. That's the Dangerous Assessment Response Team. And that is a combination of the city attorney's office, code compliance, neighborhood and housing services where I worked. Every department that you can think of that has something to do with public safety goes out to like a drug house, and they'll remove the drug house. It takes a while, but it works. And so I would definitely advocate for that as well. Thank you.
All right. In recent years, District 6 has chosen some council members with varying political values, from Greg Brockhouse, who was part of a conservative bloc, to Councilwoman Melissa Cabello Havrda, who spent most of her career as a centrist, and most recently led an effort to fund out-of-state travel for abortion out of the city budget. Many of you on this stage also have partisan backgrounds, so I'd like to ask you each how you, in a nonpartisan council member role, would approach working with state and federal leaders. When should the city stand up against policies that are at odds with the majority of residents' values, and how should it go about it? Start with Vanessa.
Okay, thank you. So I think that for our city, we have a limit as to what we can do without breaking the state, going above the state and being sued like we're being sued right now. And that's going to cost us more money in the end. And we could have used that money for programs that we're all up here talking about. So my view is we have to follow the law. And yes, there are times when we will stand up, but when we stand up for that, it's not going to cost us more money to make sure that those programs are being implemented. Short answer.
You're not going to see an R or a D next to anybody's name on the ballot. And that's because this race is not about parties. This race is about our communities and making sure that they have the resources that they need to survive and to thrive. I believe that political names have been used to divide us for far too long. There are many real issues that our community is facing, and that affects everybody. We need to make sure that we are focusing on the issues that affect every single person on our community. As far as it comes to having to stand up to our state and federal government, we have to be honest about the fact that the laws that this country has passed in the past have not always been correct. And it is up to us as your city leaders to make sure that we are standing up for our communities and making sure that there are not laws that negatively affect the people in our communities. And if there are, we need to do something about them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think city council is a nonpartisan election, right? We know that. And it's because all these issues that matter to us, to our neighbors, to our communities, are nonpartisan issues. Thinking about things around streets and sidewalks, thinking about animal care services, healthcare. All these pieces are really critical to our communities, and we have to make sure that if we are going to address these issues, we have to work together. When it's knocking doors, I'm talking to folks who have Democratic Party stickers all over their cars, or someone comes out wearing a MAGA hat. Nothing wrong with that. We got to engage with one another because we're each other's neighbors, and we got to work together to make sure we're addressing these issues. I've been tested before. I've gone to the Texas legislature and gone toe-to-toe with Democrats and Republicans alike to make sure that we're fighting for our communities. And that's what we're going to continue to have to do. Thinking about how these issues are going to affect our communities is the biggest thing. And so when talking to our state officials, our federal officials, it's about saying, this is how this issue that you're proposing, this law that you're implementing, would affect my neighborhoods, would affect our public schools, would affect our communities here. And so yes, being collaborative, but also saying, hey, that's not a good idea. It's going to hurt our communities. We got to work on something else.
I'm the only candidate on this stage right now among all of my opponents who have had government experience. I have been a budget analyst for the Department of Defense, and I'm the only candidate here who have bipartisan experience work as a precinct chairman for the Democratic Party, work as a precinct chairman for the Republican Party. And when it comes to getting the job done, I don't care who gets the credit. I have the experience of working across the aisle to getting things done. And I'm proud to say right now that we finally have a road 151 that's been built. Over the last 15 or 20 years, I have traveled to Washington, D.C. and knocked on my congressman's door, senator's door, and begging and pleading for help to relieve the traffic congestion in District 6. I'm the only one that has the ability and the experience to work across the aisle and get things done and reach out to both federal government and state government.
You're out of time.
Thank you.
One of the most important things I see in my role is to defend the freedom and the autonomy of all District 6 citizens and all San Antonians, and that includes against all levels of government. And we've seen too many examples where that was needed in recent years, whether this Republican state and the left-leaning council got together and took a man's business a couple of years ago in the interest of some other revenue-generating enterprise, whether that is the local council, the left-leaning council, importing bad inflationary policy from both sides of the aisle in Washington, D.C., that shows up in your property tax bills, that shows My house, my first house that I bought in 2003 has appreciated over 150%. The city should defend our citizens from this inflationary policy that drives up our property taxes. And then there's just defending people that want to do business with happy customers. For example, the horse-drawn carriage industry, there was no good reason to shut that industry down or any business. I don't care what level of government we're talking about, what party we're talking about. My top role is to defend people's freedom.
I'll be short and brief on this. What was done is done. $500,000 went out. I agree with a couple of these candidates up here. We need to get back to what we have here in the district. Sidewalks, streets. You only see you only see street sweepers once a year, every other year. Bring them back out. Let them clean up our streets. Let them clean up our roads. Let them clean up the lots. Let them clean up everything else around here. I'm telling you, we need to get back down to basics. If we don't get back down to basics, sure, we have technology beating us to death right now, but we have to remember where we're at. We're here for you guys, and we're supposed to listen to you guys, not those higher ups. As far as I'm concerned, she should have spoken to the state representatives, Texas senators, and actually knocked on one congressman's door, and that was never done. That's why now the city's being sued for that.
You're
we
out of
don't
time.
need any more suits.
Mr. Lopez, how would you in the nonpartisan council member role approach working with state and federal leaders? When should the city stand up against policies that are at odds with the majority of residents' values, and how should it go about it?
Thank you for the question, and I thank you for repeating it. I forgot it after a period of time, so
Sometimes it's like a game of telephone.
Right, exactly. Hey, so here's the reality of it, right? I've had the pleasure of serving on 2 high-functioning boards for District 6, one with Northside ISD, which was awarded an HEB award for Best Texas School Board, and then Alamo Colleges, who was just recently awarded the the Baldridge Award, which was won twice. So that tells you a lot about the thinking, the forward thinking of the district. You have to be able to have relationships when it comes to talking with our state officials and our congressional officials. We're not going to go in there and try to bully them. We're not going to be able to try to do that. It's about working with our residents. It's about working with our elected officials and benefit the ultimate goal, the city of San Antonio. So those are the things that I bring as an elected official on the school board, as a trustee for Alamo Colleges. My knowledge, my experience, and my relationships.
No, this is a great question. I've been saying this question comes up at the doors more often than it doesn't. What political affiliation, what party are you with? And I continue to educate the residents that this city council election is not about party. It's not about party affiliation. My job and prioritization are the people. My job and prioritization is going to ensure that they have their basic needs served, that they understand that they can call my cell phone and they're going to receive a response from me. That is the job of this. It does not have anything to do with partisanship, and it's been said already, a lot of the issues, they are nonpartisan issues. They want infrastructure, they want safety, they want to make sure that their community continues to get invested into. Those are not partisan issues, and this is not on a partisan seat, and it's people over party, period.
Thank you.
Andrea,
All right.
I would like to offer a rebuttal to something that was said.
I don't, unless you're name checked, you don't get a rebuttal, sorry.
Okay.
We reached out to Councilwoman Cabello Havrda to see what questions she would pose to the candidates running to represent District 6, and she gave us this. What is your concrete plan to represent all of District 6 from Edgewood to Alamo Ranch? Let's start with Lawson.
I'm sorry, I spaced out.
What is your concrete plan to represent all of District 6 from Edgewood to Alamo Ranch?
Thank you. So I've also been block walking in the Los Jardines area very recently, and I have encountered some residents that are quite frustrated that for generations they've been overlooked, that for generations they have asked and begged for sidewalks or for speed bumps. In fact, they even got the petition signed to try to get those speed bumps and sidewalks, and they went to our current District 6 Council office, and then they were told, we don't have the money for it, even though we asked you to go through this process. That's wrong. And so we need to ensure that we are looking at both sides of the pendulum, because they do swing pretty drastically from the south end of the district to the north end of the district, and that we are addressing their needs, that we are giving them the lighting infrastructure that they're asking for, that we're giving them the safety improvements and traffic calming solutions that they're asking for, but that we're prioritizing our budget to address the needs of those that need it most and have for generations gone overlooked. And that's going to be how I ensure that we are that we are stabilizing and sustaining the growth of District 6.
So really what we need to look at and what we're talking about, and it's a great question what Councilwoman Havrda has posed, and recognizing the vast differences of District 6, right, from Edgewood to North San Antonio Hills and in between, it requires a plan. At the end of the day, what we are talking about is having a plan, having a direction, and then assigning dollars to it. Because really, the reality is what we're doing is we're prioritizing our value. We're prioritizing, and I'm not saying that we're prioritizing more Edgewood than we are North San Antonio Hills. No, what we're prioritizing are the important issues that affect the residents of District 6 every day when they leave for work and when they come home from work, and then when they're able to be out there in the community. So those are the things, and I have a plan for that, and it's about prioritizing those issues that are most important to the residents.
We'll repeat the question. What is your concrete plan to represent all of District 6 from Edgewood to Alamo Ranch? Mr. Herrera.
My plan is to move forward. Stop looking back. There's nothing back there. Everything's in front of you. All I've heard from a lot of people from Taft High School coming back out here, what about the roads? I try to explain to them, sir, that's not a city project. FM 471 is a state highway. They put the funds in there, they work on their own time. But what our state representatives can do, they can push them, push them, push them. MPO has been around a long time. We have certain streets we have to take care of. We take care of them on our side of the fence. But remember this, again, it's going to be hectic to work with somebody that don't understand that. And all my military veteran friends out there, every single one of them, what about us? Why are we always left out? I go, you're not going to be left out now. Don't forget, we made San Antonio Military City, USA.
Mr. Baecker.
I love going to every part of this district. I have support at a tire shop off of Old 90. I helped a lady get a stop sign and a via sign enough apart. They looked like they were about to get married. They were so close together. I had those separated out on Rawhide just across the border from D4. I have support at a dentist office up in Alamo Ranch. I have support up in the north part. It doesn't matter where they live. They're all equal. Everybody is equal. I don't care if you live down near in this area or up in Alamo Ranch. I treat everybody equal. I treat their problems equally. It doesn't matter to me where they're from, because I genuinely enjoyed going to every corner of the district. So I'm going to treat everybody the same. Wherever there's more need, I'll probably give a little more attention. Wherever there's more demand, I'll probably give a little more attention. But they're all equal to me. The businesses, the citizens, all across District 6, they're all the same to me. I'll treat them equally.
I am a realtor. I'm a realtor, a real estate agent. I have sold homes all over the District 6. Marbot, Old National Highway, those are historical places in San Antonio. And all of my homeowners and buyers have said to me in Marbot and Old National Highway, hey, what are you going to do for Marbot and Old National Highway? My child, when he comes from school, there is no place, there is no after-school program for my child to go to. So I have to drive my child all the way to the north, in Alamo Ranch and those areas, for them to enjoy after-school program. Mr. Raymond, what are you going to do for Marbot and Old National Highway? And I have a plan. Right now, doing the graduation from Lackland, parents come from all over the state, but there is no place for them to go, no hotel, no restaurant. They have to go across downtown. I want to revamp Old National Highway, and I want to revamp Marbot. And that is my goal, is to raise the quality of life in those areas equally to the north of District 6. It's the great majority of inequality going on there, and I want to be the champion of growth.
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. You know, like I said before, I was born and raised here in District 6. It's my home. I grew up in the Pipers Meadow neighborhood, just outside of 410, on Culebra and Ingram, right in the center, I feel, of District 6. But my family comes from the inner west side, West Martin, West Salinas, and South San Eduardo in the Edgewood area. That part is really important to me because I still know family there, and I still see them there. And a lot of my work experience at City Council is representing the inner west side and working together with folks throughout the inner west side, just across Commerce Street. So these are not places that I don't know, that I'm unfamiliar with. These are places that mean a lot to me. These are places that I want to continue to advocate for, that I've already worked together with neighbors and our HOAs, our neighbor associations, to address our parks, issues with sidewalks, issues with streets. And so to make sure that we're representing all of the district, it means making sure that both our field offices stay open on both sides of town and are fully staffed with responsive constituent service staff members, making sure that we have our digital and in-print newsletters going out to all of our residents, and of course, knocking on doors beyond election time, right? Meeting with folks who maybe aren't always available and saying, hey, here's the office, here's the information, reach out sometime, or what issues are going on to you right now while we're here at your door.
Repeat the question. How would you represent District 6 from Edgewood all the way to Alamo Ranch?
I have a revolutionary concrete plan to be able to represent people from Edgewood to Alamo Ranch, and I want you to stay with me here. My plan is to listen. We need to listen to the community members in every single part of the district, because I strongly believe that the people closest to the problems have the solutions that will actually work to fix the problems that they are facing. I believe that one way we can do this, as I said, listening, is continuing the door-to-door approach. I personally love going door-to-door, talking to the residents in the district and hearing from them about what their concerns are, about what their needs are in the district. I can't be on every single street in every single part of the district, but my neighbors are. And so my plan is to listen, to elevate their voices, and to fight for the things that they need in their community. I'm not running because I think that I have all the answers and that I know everything. I'm running because I know that my community does. Thank you.
Thank you. So my motto for the campaign is neighborhoods first, and I picked that because throughout all my years working in the trenches with neighborhood associations, it's been a long 30 years. I've worked in self-sufficiency programming, adult literacy, helping individuals get out of the situation they're in and do something great with their lives. So I picked neighborhoods first because my plan is to do a needs assessment for every single neighborhood in District 6. And I will go door to door because that's what I've been doing. And I have met so many wonderful people, and they tell me exactly what their needs are. I've already met Mr. Hector Santos, who's over at the Edgewood Youth Association ball field. He talked to me about what their needs are, and everything that he's asking for is doable. And I said, that's what we're going to do. We are going to invite neighborhood by neighborhood, and we're going to get a needs assessment done, and we're going to check it off individually on the budget, get it on there, and check it off. And they're going to hold me accountable, and then they're going to say, did you fix it? So they can ask me anytime, this is what our issue was, did you fix it?
At a time.
And we'll say yes. Thank you.
Okay. Those of you in the audience have already heard this a few times tonight, but we are very proud of our voter guide that has candidate profiles on all of these candidates, as well as all of the candidates in all of the races and the school board races. And so we use those questionnaires to write some special questions for each of you. So listen up, and I think we'll bump around so that we're not going straight down the line. How about we start with Mr. Baecker? Your questionnaire mentions your involvement in a group called Infuse SA, which often seeks to hold the city accountable by filing public records requests and demanding transparency. Could you describe to the audience what Infuse SA is, what is its mission, And what has surprised you most about what you found in that work, and how would you use it in a position of city leadership?
I don't have enough time to list all the things that have surprised me. We exist to advance personal and economic freedom for all citizens of Bexar County. Some of the main things we do is look into stuff, open records requests. One of my personal favorites is looking at the media, trying to keep that balance, keep it honest. We put on property tax protest help workshops. We do that regularly with one of our enthusiasts. We've put on a workshop for the deaf and blind community to help them with powers of attorney and wills and trusts, financial planning. We see unmet needs, so to speak, in the community. I go back to the horse-drawn carriage industry. We covered them at least 3 times and showed how Dr. Espy, for one, was kind of shoved to the side, disrespected. This is a nationally renowned equine veterinarian who is just kind of nudged to the side to serve an agenda. It's stuff like that.
You're out of time.
Thank you.
And one quick follow-up, is that a role that you would continue if elected?
I'm not sure about that. There would still be connection there, but we haven't discussed that yet.
Ms. Gonzalez, you said in your questionnaire that you plan to advocate for, quote, more affordable housing, tenant protections, and responsible development policies. Recently, the city lost out on $20 million in federal affordable housing projects because District 10 didn't want it to go in their district. And other council members, including Councilwoman Cabello Havrda, adhered to a tradition of supporting one another's wishes in their district. In your effort to support more affordable housing, are you okay with District 6 absorbing more of these projects than other parts of the city if other council members are unwilling to champion them?
District 6 is home to the highest number of veterans in the city of San Antonio. We need to make sure that we are ensuring housing for every single veteran, senior, and working family in our district. I am more than happy to accept all of those housing opportunities for our district and to fight to make sure that we have those opportunities for people that want to live in our district. I think another thing that we can also do really, that we can do a much better job of is building housing in transit-oriented development areas. We need our families to be able to move around the city, and they should not have to choose between a 2-hour commute or a community that they want to live in, especially if that community is District 6. As the fastest growing district, we are expected to grow so much more in the coming years, and we need to be ready for that growth. Thank you.
Mr. Herrera, we all know by now that you used to hold this seat in the 1990s before being voted out of office following a number of scandals, including a reported attempt to solicit a 6-figure consulting fee in exchange for supporting a development in your district. Why should District 6 voters trust you again in this role?
Now that is a great question. Let's go back to when I first went into office. I was approached by a guy, Morgan's Wonderland. I was sitting on a seat 1 week. He came in asking for $500,000 to $800,000 for his project off Couples Road. Didn't know the man from Adam. Would any of you guys do that? No. I studied the issue, and all my council members, my colleagues, they said, hey, watch it. You don't have to give him anything. I did not give him any money from my budget. I kept the money in my budget, and it stayed in the district. As far as the scandals are concerned, you want to talk about scandals? Let's talk about them. Great question again. I was never arrested. I was never implemented or nothing. All it was hearsay. All it was, hearsay. But great question, and thank you for letting me bring it out and letting you all know what it was. It was all hearsay. I was, again, never indicted, never put in jail for it, never taken to court. It was all hearsay.
Thank you. Mr. Galvan, in your question and answer, you noted your experience as a neighborhood association president, as well as your desire to create more affordable housing opportunities for families. How will you balance the desires of neighborhood associations and homeowners, which have often led the opposition to affordable housing and general encroachment, with your desire to create more affordable housing, which presumably comes with apartments and other forms of denser development?
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much for that question. You know, I'm really proud of where I grew up in Pepper's Meadow. I've said it multiple times already because I really care about it. And in our neighborhood, we have the vast majority of single-family homes, for sure. We also have 4 apartment complexes in our neighborhood. And sure, there are issues between one another every now and again. These are things that we've grown up with our entire lives. These are nothing that are different to us. And we don't really seem to have really bad blood between the apartments, nor the duplexes, nor the single-family homes, because we understand that what it takes to make sure that our community is safe, a quality place to live in, an enjoyable place to live in, is working together as neighbors and being neighborly, right? That is why folks get involved in neighbor associations and homeowner associations, to do that kind of work to get folks to come along with one another. So what that means to city council person is making sure that we are working with the neighbor associations and the homeowner associations to understand what projects are coming up, what they look like, how they can affect our community, but also how they can improve our community too. That kind of collaboration was really critical to make sure that we move forward, and we got to do it early on. We cannot do it at the last minute or at the zoning commission. We got to do it when it comes in and saying, here's what's going on. Let's work together with the developer. Let's work together to see who this would really serve and how it would support us. Thank you.
Thanks. Ms. Alaniz Picasso, 2 years ago you ran for Bexar County Commissioner's Court in Precinct 1. We occasionally get questions about where candidates live, but it's really hard to track that sort of information down, and in a lot of ways, city politics works on the honor system. We'd like to hear from you. How long have you lived in District 6, and why do you believe that this district is the one that you're best positioned to represent on the council?
Thank you so much. So I have lived in District 6 since 2023 of April 2023. And my voting history and my license and everything else can show that. I live in Westover Valley, and I am very proud of the neighborhood association, or the HOA that I belong to. And I believe that this district in particular, as it's already been mentioned, is one of the fastest growing districts in this city. We are the fastest growing major city in the Texas, and we need to ensure that we have somebody that has the experience, professional experience, to know how to manage and sustain the people that already live here, but also the growth that's coming in. And I have that experience. So I want to ensure that this district in particular has the strongest leadership it does, because we are now on 4-year terms and we deserve practical leadership.
Ms. Chavez, this is a long question, so stay with me here. You've been a district director, and you said in your questionnaire that as a council member, you would solicit feedback from residents through a multi-layered approach that includes both electronic and hard copy surveys, QR codes, and flyer distribution. Challenges with public input, specifically getting staff to engage with more inclusive public input in District 6, is something that Councilwoman Cabello Havrda discussed at length in our mayoral debate last week. What responsibility does a city council member have in making sure that constituents, particularly ones who are working and raising families and face other barriers to making it to city information sessions, are included when major decisions are made about their community, such as bond projects or moving the Missions minor league baseball stadium downtown?
A council member has the utmost responsibility to make sure that they are getting the word out. I would utilize every single thing you just mentioned that I responded to in my survey. And I really want to open the office on Saturdays. The brand new field office on Tezel Road, I want to open that office on Saturdays so that I can invite neighborhoods to come in, especially during the Speak Up SA time for the annual budget time, to give us feedback and make sure that we are also going door to door and making sure that the flyers and the mailers and the cards are going out. It's our responsibility to make sure that this information is getting out there to the public, and that we're looking at it, we're putting it into a database, and then we're using that information to make real, responsible decisions on behalf of the District 6 residents.
Mr. Raymond, you've had many years of experience as a federal employee, including in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs and the U.S. Department of Transportation. We've been hearing a lot over the past few weeks about cuts to the federal workforce by the Trump administration and Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. Can you illuminate for us your experience in the federal workforce and help us understand what cuts to federal workforce mean to everyday San Antonians?
The cut in the federal workforce is a disaster. It will be a nightmare. I've worked in the Department of Defense as a budget analyst, and oftentimes they want to cut programs. And I stepped up to the plate and I said, if you do this, this is the repercussion that you will have. If you do that, this is a repercussion that you will have. And I not only advocate for for workers in all over the country. And I will do that as an elected official in the city council. I would go to every elected official there in the federal government. I have that experience of having done so in the past, and let them know the effect that their decision is going to have on the federal workforce. That cannot be done, and it should not be done. It's going to reap havoc, and we're going to pay the price for that. It should not be done.
And as a quick follow-up, could you in 30 seconds or less explain to us, you have a background running as both a Republican and a Democrat in the past. How does that happen?
In the year 2016, I ran as a Democrat. And what happened there, the chairman of the Democratic Party told me that I was too conservative and that it would not get anything done by me running as a conservative. So what they did, he removed my name from the ballot. Last minute, I found out that my name was not on the primary ballot. And that was devastating to me. The Republican Party called me and said, hey, Mr. Raymond, we need to uplift and raise, we want you to come and be a part of the Republican Party. I've been a Democrat for 35 years, and you took my name off the ballot, and the Republican Party brought me in on faith and said, we're going to help you. Come and work with us. My heart was broken. And in the year 2022, I ran and I got 37,500
You're
votes.
about out of time.
Those votes come from bipartisan, Democrat and Republican.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez, you've served on the Northside ISD Board and are an Alamo College's trustee. You wrote in your question and answer that San Antonio needs to ensure every student has access to quality education, whether it's traditional education, workforce training, or alternative paths. Traditionally, the San Antonio City Council hasn't had much sway over education issues, but increasingly this campaign season, we're seeing more and more candidates emphasizing their positions on educational issues like the ones you mentioned. A city can take on the politics of education all at once, but when the state sets the budget and the rules, what can a city do about it?
Good question, and yes, the city can ultimately act as a partner. Really what we can do is we can help either through, which is what I'm planning on doing when it comes to when elected. The first thing that I plan on doing is looking at the City of San Antonio study report on education around the city and within the districts. District 6 was ranked close to last when it came to reading and writing. That's not good. So what I'm planning on doing is focusing in on that, looking at how we can better, as a city, partner with not only just our ISDs, our charter schools, we're also looking at partnering with our homeschool students. They all deserve an opportunity for success, and that's the way that we're going to thrive as a city, because I've always said education is the foundation for the future of our success in San Antonio. And that education lies within our children, and the future of our city is going to lie within our children as well. So we must invest in the human capital, and that's what's important to me, and that's been the foundation of my campaign.
Thank you. That's all the time that we have for questions. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up with a closing statement. You'll have 60 seconds each. Start with Lawson.
Thank you so much. I am running because I don't want city council to be business as usual. This is 4 years, y'all. We don't have the time to be learning on the job. We need to ensure that we have the type of leadership that's going to move the needle forward. Not the type of leadership that is just, that somebody that actually cares about the community and is there for the community when it matters, not just when we are receiving a paycheck for answering your calls. I'm here to ensure that you have that type of advocate. My run for city council and for this city and for this district is because it is my love letter of appreciation for a community that 14 years ago when I moved here helped me at my darkest time. When I lived in my car for 6 months, it was this community that helped uplift me and get me out of that issue, that moment in my life. And I want to ensure that as your advocate on that dais, that you have somebody who comes with the experience, comes with the professional understanding to move it for you, because you deserve better. You deserve better. And I'm asking for your vote in this race. Thank you.
Mr. Lopez.
Thank you. As I've been on the doors for the past 2 months, 2.5 months, one of the things that I've been telling the residents, and it's really very simple, experience knowledge, and relationships. I have this experience in dealing with government, dealing with budgets, dealing with bonds. I've had that experience. I was elected twice to the school board for Northside, as mentioned earlier. I've had to deal with budgets. I've had to deal with deficits. That's what we're going to be dealing with in the future. The city of San Antonio will be dealing with a deficit. I've had to deal with that. We had to prioritize. I've been asked at the doors is, what are you going to do to prioritize your spending? We're going to be dealing with a deficit, so you need to figure out what's important to you. That's why I plan on figuring out what's important with the district, what's important to you. That's how we're going to move and budget properly for that. But what I will also say is, I have lived in the district for 30 years. I didn't just move in. I've invested in the district. I have a small business, a landscaping business. I work in the district. I ask for your vote.
Mr. Herrera.
Okay, here we go. My biggest priority is reckless driving. Right now, y'all don't know this, but we had a meeting with Austin last week. They want to implement the same program that I've been an advocate for nearly 30 years. Reckless driving is bad in San Antonio. Our meeting with Austin, meeting with them, they came down here with a certain group of people. We're advocating for that. Guns, need to get them off the streets. Got to get them off the streets. There's no room for it in any neighborhood. We live close to each other. Do you not hear pow, 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 pow? And we thought we lived in a nice neighborhood. It's all over San Antonio. If you don't step up, get your child down there to really punish him, it's going to keep happening. One last thing, y'all don't know this. We're advocating for a brand new complex on 10 acres over here. I can't tell you who's going to donate it, but we're looking for a sports complex for T-ball and youth ball only. We need one on this side of town.
Mr. Baecker?
I am running because I want my daughters to reach their potential right here in San Antonio. I want all young people to reach their potential right here in San Antonio's youth. But there are things going on in City Hall that drive our youth to other cities. We raise property taxes every year, almost unanimously. We shut down whole industries. We propose simplifying the permit process by adding another couple of government employees and doing kind of like a fast pass so that those who can afford it get through it without looking at what's clogging up the process. We funnel taxpayer dollars to multi-million and billion-dollar companies through the Ready to Work program, and now we're talking about adding a few more $1 billion to our $20 billion debt. That's $13,000 for every man, woman, and child. No wonder some are moving out of city limits. Leadership likes to say San Antonio is growing. That's true, but Bexar County is growing faster because people are getting rid of 20% of their property tax bill.
Mr. Raymond?
I gotta stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, I have spent all of my adult life serving others. I have traveled, there are 7 continents that make up the world. I have traveled to 6 continents all across the world with the Special Forces and on my own. I've lived in 23 cultures and speak multiple languages. I am the only candidate here that have traveled around the world and I speak many languages. I bring a wealth of experience, leadership experience as a military person. San Antonio has some serious issues and we don't have time for on-the-job training. We need somebody who's going to hit the ground running and bring this district back up to par. Again, I am the only candidate here with international experience, with military experience, with federal experience, with state experience, and I can get the job done starting from day one. Traditionally, the citizen goes to City Hall to voice their complaint.
You're out of time.
This time, we're going to bring City Hall to the people in the District 6 and let them address the citizen need.
Mr. Galvan.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for coming out tonight. You know, we have a big decision to make here in a couple weeks at this point. And you've seen all of us at your doors. You've heard us on the phones. You see all of our signs on every rail and corner possible. So it's time to make sure that we're ready to get out and vote for a candidate that you can trust. District 6 is my home. It always has been. And I'm ready to make sure, as our city continues to grow and as our district continues to grow, that all of us feel safe in our homes, that we can afford to live here in our city, and that our city continues to be a place, and our neighborhoods continue to be a place that we can be proud of the investments that come in here to make our neighborhoods a better place for all of us and for generations to come. It is with my experience growing up in the district, serving as a neighborhood leader here, and working at City Council to deliver real solutions for working families across San Antonio, that I believe that together we can make District 6 in San Antonio a safer, more affordable, and quality place to live in for all of our working families. I, Ric Galvan, hope I can count on your vote this May. Thank you.
Ms. Gonzalez.
I have already accomplished what others here are promising to do. I have organized city workers, changed policies at our city level, and held our system accountable. I overturned a 72-year political gag rule on city employees. This campaign, my campaign, is built on lived experience, but it's also built by city workers, families, and neighbors all across District 6 that are coming together to build the best future for all the residents of our district. The best way that we can do that is to ensure that every single hard-earned taxpayer dollar that we receive as a city is being spent in the most efficient way possible. Making good policy is not just about throwing money at a problem. It's about putting people first. My name is Ann Gonzalez. I hope to be able to count on your support. Thank you.
So I mentioned earlier that I have 30 years working as a public servant here in San Antonio. I graduated in 1994 and I've been doing it ever since. 20 of those years I've worked for the city of San Antonio on the departmental side and on the council side. So I understand the intricacies of how budgets work, how the bond works, how grant programming works. I understand all of that. I have worked in the trenches. I have coordinated tax protest forums, town hall meetings. I have gone out to code compliance site visits with code officers. I've fixed those problems. I've fixed public works infrastructure problems throughout the time that I've worked for city council members. On the city council side, on the city departmental side, I worked in neighborhood and housing services. I worked in the fair housing division, and I worked with people who were homeless and who needed a place to live. I understand the needs of our community, and it is with my passion that I'm doing this, because I think that now, after 30 years of doing the hard work, I can be an amazing policy decision maker only on the behalf of the District 6 resident. And my name's Vanessa Chavez, and I hope I can get your vote. Thanks.
Thank you so much, candidates, for your time, and thank you, folks in the audience, for coming out and partaking in some live civic engagement. Election day is May 3rd, but there's a lot going on in this city on May 3rd, so don't wait until then. Early voting starts April 22nd, runs through the 29th, so get out there and make your voice heard.